Welcome to the Remarkable Retail Podcast, Season 3, Episode 10. Can you believe it's October, the 10th month of the year? I'm Michael LeBlanc.
And I'm Steve Dennis.
Let's talk about the retail news.
Busy week.
It's a busy week. Now, we never talk about these guys, so I'm really thrilled we bring them back up. Amazon.
I feel I'm sure they're very neglected. I'm surprised we haven't gotten any nasty grams from the PR department.
Let's talk about Whole Foods. So a couple of things are happening at Whole Foods. First of all, on a business level, they've added back in a delivery fee. So let's start there. So tell me about that. And this, as I'm sure everyone knows, Amazon owns Whole Foods, but let's start talking about this delivery fee thing.
Well, one of the big features of Prime has been that there is free 2-hour delivery built in, or there was free 2-hour delivery built in, but they announced this week that they are going to eliminate that, and there is now a $9.95 charge for 2-hour delivery. Still free 1-hour delivery for Prime members if you want to go pick it up. But this is a pretty big change. They were testing it in 5 or 6 markets for a while. But they just announced that that's going to go everywhere, which has gotten, number one, a lot of pushback online from customers complaining about it, feeling like they kind of changed the deal in terms of Prime membership, which is a paid membership. But of course, nobody likes price increases. But to me, what's interesting about this, and I kind of think the folks in Bentonville and Minneapolis and other places were breathing a sigh of relief, because as we've touched on a bunch of times, the cost of grocery delivery is generally pretty prohibitive for the retailers. So to the extent this either allows more people or more retailers to charge to get some of that money back, or encourages more customers to come to the store, which I suspect will be the bigger effect, that's a much better financial outcome for retailers.
It's been an interesting journey, right, with Amazon buying Whole Foods. I mean, if you cast our minds back a couple of years ago, the announcement was made. It was, oh my God, it's the end of grocery. And I think it took like $1 billion out of the market, which was just fantastical, just ridiculous, because, at the end of the day, it's a 400 store chain, 450 stores, is but 14 in Canada, I think, close to 400 in the US. It's positioned at a certain price point. I thought when Amazon bought it, I was going the other way. I thought they were catching a falling knife, basically. I mean, Whole Foods was not doing spectacularly well. And I didn't really see the fit. I didn't see the fit culturally. I didn't see why they needed to. I mean, there's other groceries you could buy. They paid, $14 billion for them, and Amazon can pay any amount of money. They could have bought anybody practically.
Yeah, I mean, in the scheme of things, it's a relatively inexpensive experiment, you can argue. A lot of people have had thoughts on whether this was really the way for them to learn about the grocery business, that they had designs on a bigger plan, which they seem to be executing now for mainstream grocery. Because you're entirely right. Whole Foods, in the scheme of things, is very much a niche player. That's not where the big money is. It's going to be much more where they're going with Amazon Fresh. But the other thought was, okay, well, it's a more upscale consumer, and if they get more data about the upscale consumer, perhaps that helps them in the fashion business and some other aspects of their growth plans. I don't think that's paid off so much, but maybe the grocery part has been good R&D for them.
There was a lot of riddles for me, because, when you've got some crazy percentage of the U.S. population belongs to Prime, I think you got a lot of data. Now, Amazon hasn't really been that strong. When I think of them, they haven't been that strong in food. That's not been a successful area for them. They've tried a bunch of things. That's been modestly successful. In my local Whole Foods, which I shop, they've got some things that I can't find. But I see some, every now and then there's an Amazon product that shows up every now and then, or a coupon or something. They do, I have to say, they baffle me a little bit, because I live within a driving range of one of the 14 Whole Foods. I'm a Prime member. But they never connect those dots for me. To me, it's like, with all the vaunted kind of AI, I'm an obvious candidate. You couldn't get a more obvious candidate in some ways. Anyway, the other thing we should talk about Whole Foods is a change of leadership, right? Talk about that.
Yeah, John Mackey just announced his retirement. He's one of the co-founders and has been at the helm for, I don't know, 25 years. I don't know, quite a long time. So that's a real,
long time.
real passing of the torch, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's been there a long time.
End of
He's
an
not,
era. It's like an end
yeah,
of an era, really, for Whole
yeah. I
Foods.
mean, we were talking off mic. Is there anything to read into this? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, certainly Whole Foods has not been doing well, so maybe it's time to try some different leadership. But he's been there a long time for sure, and he's probably ready to go play golf or get a boat or whatever one does at that age with that kind of money.
Listen, that team launched an entirely new concept of grocer. It's a fantastic concept. Those are hard to come by, like creating new concepts, so all kudos to them. That's a career you could look back on and be very proud of, for
Sure.
sure. So we wish him a great retirement and
Yeah.
strike him well if he happens to be a golfer, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and he's also, just probably worth mentioning quickly, he's also been kind of one of the main proponents of the so-called conscious capitalism movement, along with Kip
Yeah.
Tyndall at Container Store and a lot of other people. But he really got that movement going, and that has grown throughout the world, really. So that's, I think, a pretty important contribution, not just to retail, but to the bigger business world.
Yeah, a lifetime achievement award. If we were able to grant one, we would do it today.
I mean,
I'm sure
maybe we should start like an awards gala or something.
We should
Put on a black
It'd be
tie
fun.
and get some flowers or something.
Yeah. One last quirky thing about Amazon. I was reading, and I think you mentioned it as well, that in New York City, the Macy's on 34th, I guess there's some signage that you can buy above it, and Amazon, being cheeky, I think, is trying to buy the signage or something on top of Macy's.
Yeah,
Is that a metaphor or something?
Yeah, there's just so many about these things. We could probably do a whole episode on retail trolling. But if folks are in Manhattan or have been in Manhattan, the Herald Square Macy's store, there's this big sign. I think it says "World's Biggest Store" or something like that. It's this huge sign. It's been there for a long time. I don't know that it's changed very much over the years. And Amazon wants to. The company that I guess owns the billboard has rights to sell additional space or something, and Amazon apparently wants to get that space. So, I don't know. I mean, people may have seen this over the years where usually smaller retailers that are perhaps more petty than Amazon is, sometimes will buy a billboard above a store, with an arrow or something like that. But I don't think I've seen a retailer of this size and reputation do something quite so in the face of a rival.
Now, before we get to our you and me just chit and chat, and I want to remind the listeners, or conversely the viewers, well, if you're viewing this, you already know we have a YouTube channel, and it's bonus content, because you and I chit and chat for actually closer to 20 minutes, half an hour, but we kind of, for time, we kind of trim that down to about 10 minutes. But if you want to hear our full discussion, we get into some fun stuff back and forth. Visit our YouTube site and just look for Remarkable Retail, and we'll be there. But for now, let's get into this Honey, I Shrunk the Store discussion. So let's kick it off.